16 years old and you're entering the professional boxing world. How does it feel?
It feels good, it hasn't been done before, and I'm glad to say that I'm the first one to do it. And I'm gonna try to put on a show and live up to the expectations. I just used to see my father train my brother, and I don't know, I just see him throwing those punches, his leg movement. I just fell in love with it first sight, and so I asked my father if I could start training, and ever since then I never looked back.
How old were you?
I was 6 years old when I asked him.
Wow, that's young.
I'll start at 7. I started at 7.
He's very intelligent, very smart in the ring. He knows how to use his ring smarts. He's pretty good at predicting what you're going to do, what you're going to throw before you throw it. And he's able to counter you, and he's pretty fast on his legs and his feet. Hand speed's good. Everything's pretty good. He's really coordinated.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always the young one in the ring. It's nothing new. It's always been this since the beginning of my career. I'm ready. The odds are always stacked against me. And I continue to beat them. I know people that do, so I just try to talk to the youth. All the youth. I went to elementary school. Try to talk to them about making decisions about gangs, about bullying, knowing what to do, what not to do, thinking about your decisions, second guess yourself before you make a decision or go in the car with somebody, because just that one time could ruin everything.
Yeah.
And my mom wasn't the only one I lost in my family. I lost my uncle, my tío, from all gang violence. That's why I look forward to fighting in my hometown, Stockton, California, and fighting for promote anti-gang violence, so everybody could get the message and all the kids know from the right, from wrong, to think of the consequences before they do anything. My plan is just to stop the violence in the city I love, in the city I was born in. I grew up, and then, Stockton took my mother away from me at the age of 12. And then, I had to mature. The events in my life matured me. So I had to make sure I knew what I wanted to do, and I had to go all for it. I couldn't give up on boxing because she loved to see me fight. So giving up on my dreams would be like giving up on my mother. So I just continued, and so I try to use my words to help the youth, to make sure they don't grow up to, have guns or do any crazy stuff like that to get them in trouble and ruin what they worked for. Let them know there's something else out there other than the gang violence. There's more opportunities. So my fight will be for the city, all the lost ones that are left, or loved ones that got lost in Stockton, California. That's what it's for, before I'm fighting against crime. I want my city to do better, and that's all I hope for. I always knew what was ahead for me. I knew it's either that or I could be a boxer and travel the world and, try to make a great career out of it and maybe even a living. And, so I wouldn't sacrifice that. And I love this sport. I'm not doing it for greed or anything. I'm doing it out of love. That's what gets me up every morning to run, to train, to do all that. So it's out of love. So I just know what's there for me. And I would love to help. Kids always, and people, even people older than me, always ask me for advice, for boxing. And I tell them, come by the gym, I don't charge no, but I'll spar them, and I'll tell them what to do, what not to do, what they're doing good, and what they could do better. So I'm just here. I just want to see my city succeed. I don't want to be the only one. I don't want to be about me.
Yeah.
I'm also trying to help others. We've just been training more intensely, Ever since I was an amateur, I always fought like a pro. Made sure I turn over my punches. I wasn't in amateur scoring points. I always turn over my punches because we always thought about the future. We always knew what the present was, but we always thought about the future. Because later in pros, that's not gonna help us getting points. We know we're gonna have to turn over our punches for when we fight a certain fighter and he keeps on coming. We have to know how to throw a punch to make him feel it, and he stops coming so much. So that's all. Only thing we change is training more intense, make sure we're in shape more. Of course, it's not right. It's not right to try to get an advantage in a bad way to hurt somebody. This is boxing. It's professional. We're here to entertain people, and for the love of sport, we're not here to kill anybody or anything like that. So I just feel like boxing should be cleaned, because that's the way it's supposed to be. that too. You know,
Yeah.
this is boxing. You know, you're gonna have bad days. You know, we have a style that's very hard to keep up with. You know, I gotta keep my distance, but if you're off just a little bit, boom, you could get hit just like that. You know, so there's our days I'm off just like that. You know, this is boxing, but you gotta make sure you clear your mind on fight day. There's no bad days on fight day. You know, and if you do have a bad day on fight day, you gotta make something happen. You gotta be somebody you're not. You know, because you can't afford to lose. You could never have a losing mentality. Because if you do, then you're pretty much telling yourself that you're gonna lose, and that's not good. You know, so you just gotta make sure on fight day. That's the day that counts the most. You know, through training and all, fight day is the day that you get ready for. It's the big day where all the lights are. So you gotta make sure you're ready and you know what you gotta do. Even though something's behind you in your mind, you gotta shake that out somehow, some way. It's just, you know, most of all, it's the love for the sport. You know, if you gotta do something because you love it. But then I look back, you know, I want to give my family and everybody the finer things in life. You know, it hurts. It really does hurt me when people from my family say, I gotta hold off on that. I can't buy it yet. You know, I want my family, I want my people to not let money be a stress. You know, that would be nice. You know, for money not to be a stressful thing. And when you live life and you have problems because problems happen. Not over money, you know, and money is ugly, you know, it turns people to somebody that they weren't before. And so that's one thing too, you know, but most of all, love for the sport, you know, and I just want to make sure everybody in my family, all my loved ones are eating and are healthy. Do it with love, you know.
Yeah.
If you do it with love, you know, you got more of a chance to be successful.